Recently I've been struggling with my mental health and life has been feeling pretty heavy to the point where I can't bring myself to leave my room, let alone the house. But at the same time, staying in my room feels just as suffocating. It's difficult when your bedroom is supposed to be your sanctuary, but sometimes it feels like a cage. I feel trapped, I feel stuck, and it's so easy to doom scroll, right? To distract from the numbness, but of course it never really helps. So I came up with an idea to make things feel different without being stuck in bed all day. Because you remember when you were a kid and you'd build a fort out of cushions and sheets, and even though it was in the same room, it kind of felt exciting because it was new. Maybe that was just me, but I thought, you know what, let's give that a try today. There's something about going back to being a kid that can actually help in times like this. Kids don't overthink if it looks stupid or if it's productive, they just play. And sometimes when you're stuck in your head, bringing that playfulness back can actually help, because it reminds you the world doesn't have to feel so serious all the time. So I got a fresh bedsheet and got to work. The good thing about this is it actually makes you use the problem-solving part of your brain, because physics is apparently a thing. Who knew? And you have to figure out how to make this thing stay up. And I'm not gonna lie, I almost gave up quite a few times, but I kept going, and after a bit of trial and error, a few wardrobe doors almost coming off the hinges, I eventually got somewhere. The trick is finding things sturdy enough to hold up the sheet so it doesn't collapse the moment you breathe near it. Gravity really does work. And yeah, it's not exactly a proper fort or a tent, but more like a canopy, shall we say. And of course you've got to make it comfy, right? Plenty of cushions, pillows, blankets, and the final touch of the sunset lamp. And this is what we got. The next step, snacks. And by this point it was well past lunch, so I made a quick sourdough sandwich and set up this tray, grabbed a Coke Zero and a packet of Hippies, and voila! Bon appetit. You got yourself a late lunch. Hello. And I don't know about you, but when I'm feeling low, I need to put on a comfort show. Something easy, no stress, no thinking required. And for me, that's Brooklyn Nine-Nine. You know how people always tell you to journal, go write things down. When you're in this sort of headspace and you're feeling low, the last thing you want to do is write it down. It kind of just feels meaningless, pointless, effort. Maybe that's just me. And I think when people think of journaling, they think of, what are 3 things I can be grateful for today? Actually, let me give you an example here. I got this 6-minute journal a couple of Christmases ago now, and I used to fill it in every single day. It's 6 minutes because it's like 3 minutes in the morning and 3 minutes in the evening. For example, can you see that? You gotta list 3 things you're grateful for in the morning. The next one is, this is how I'll make today great. And then you have a positive affirmation, right? And then in the evening, it's slightly different. It's like, my good deed for today, how I'll improve, and 3 great things I experienced today. And I used to fill this in every single morning and evening. But last year, when I was depressed, even saying that I was depressed, I'm one of those people who's like, I don't know if I was. I've never been clinically diagnosed by a doctor, so I'm like, I can't say that I've ever been depressed because the doctor hasn't told me I've been depressed, but I've had all the depression symptoms. I think I've just gone off on a tangent there. Basically what I'm trying to say is that I'm kind of scared to say that I've been depressed, because maybe I haven't. I don't know if I'm allowed to say that I've been depressed or not, I don't know. But anyway, last year when I was extremely low, we'll just say that instead, I had to stop doing this journal. I started filling it in with quite a lot of sarcasm, because I was just like, how I'll improve, lol. My head was just not in it. When you are feeling really low, personally for me, this style of journaling doesn't really work. Journaling doesn't have to be about, oh, what are 3 things you're grateful for today? It also doesn't have to be in a diary format, like, dear diary, I woke up and brushed my teeth today. I feel like there's some misconception around what journaling should be, but journaling is just kind of what you make it. You know, there are times where I've looked at a blank piece of paper and I've gone, I don't know what to write today. So I literally write, I don't know what to write today. I'm just writing because I'm feeling low today and I feel really sad. And then this happened. And then it's a weird kind of process that once you start writing things out, it all just kind of starts to untangle in your head. And you don't think it would. I'm just literally just writing all of the thoughts that are already in my head. But there's something about getting it out on the page, which helps to unravel a lot of things. At least it does for me. So you don't have to do it in a specific way is what I'm trying to say. So if you are struggling right now, try it. Just get a piece of paper and just write the first thing that comes to your head, even if it takes 5 minutes. Even if you start off with, I feel low today, lol, I'm surviving today, this is what I'm gonna do now. Even if it's just a paragraph, because I really don't want to do this right now. I don't. But maybe it will help. Maybe it won't help. You won't know until you try. So let's do some journaling. I feel like journaling really takes the power away from those negative, dark thoughts that can have you in a chokehold. It feels like journaling can just really disintegrate that, because there's a lot of heavy things in here that also made me realize a few things that I think have been buried for a while. If I'm being vulnerable with you for a minute, I've been feeling really low, hopeless, empty. I feel scared that this will never change, that my situation, my life situation will never change. I don't know if anyone was around for the elastic band series that I did a couple of years ago, where I tried to get out of this elastic band cycle. And by that I mean that when you stretch an elastic band, it pings back to the same place, and you stretch it again and it pings back, and it feels like that is my life. I'm 31 and that has been my life for the last 10 plus years. This feels so vulnerable to admit. I know I'm not the only one that feels really behind in life, but 31, still living in my parents' place, still not with a proper income, still trying to do YouTube and still trying to change, and it just feels like the effort is not good enough. There's no good in there, it's just not enough. I just feel really sad, desperately lonely. I don't want people in my life to know I feel like this, because when I was so open with it last year and I didn't try to hide it, I saw how difficult it was for the people around me, how they struggled watching me like that, and it caused a really big rift with someone really close to me. I'm really scared of just being honest with how I feel now, and I know it shouldn't be like that because that ain't healthy. So it's like, do I even put this on the internet? I don't know. It feels like I'm backed into a corner. Well, anyway, that got deep. I was not expecting to go into any of that today. Got a little bit vulnerable there. I'm sorry, that was not the intention of this. I think what I'm trying to say with this is that if you are struggling at the moment and you are feeling low, and especially during the summer months where it's hot and everyone is outside enjoying life, enjoying the summer heat and doing things with their friends and summer barbecues, and you're feeling really trapped and feeling really low and don't want to leave your bedroom, but also feeling trapped in your bedroom. If that is you right now, I just want you to know that you are not alone in this. I truly get it. Anyway, now that I've used my brain for the journaling, let's move on to something where I do not have to use my brain at all, but also isn't staring at a screen. I actually got this years ago. I think I've done one page. I think it's time we crack it out again, you know? And that is adult colouring book. Wow, we really are going back to our kid phase today, aren't we? I literally did one page. I have some pencils here. Let's start with that one, shall we? Let's do this. What I love about doing something like colouring is that it feels like I'm doing something with my hands, but my mind can drift. I can listen to music, a podcast, or an audiobook, and I don't really have to think too much. It's like giving myself permission to just exist for a while without the pressure of being productive or doing something important. And honestly, it doesn't have to be perfect, just like journaling. I mean, I realised just how bad I am at actually colouring inside the lines. Hello, I'm 31. But that's kind of the point. It doesn't have to look pretty or make sense to anyone else. And I often caught myself overthinking it, like, what colour should I choose and what will go well next to this colour? But then I remember, Kate, it really doesn't matter. It's just about letting your brain slow down enough to breathe. And for a while, it feels like enough. I completely lost track of time, which probably isn't a bad thing. I find colouring in quite cathartic. actually quite therapeutic, especially just kind of getting lost in music or an audio book or something. I'm not gonna lie, looks like I haven't done much, but this is what I done. It's a nice little just slow project that I can work on literally whenever, when thoughts get too loud, shall we say. Literally when I woke up this morning, I was like, nope, I'm just gonna stay in bed. I'm just not gonna leave bed. But I'm quite glad I have in my little camp. What should we name it? Jerry. Of course. Welcome to Jerry Camp. Camp Jerry. I don't know. I think I've lost the plot at this point. Anyway, I'm gonna go get some dinner because it is important to refuel when you're feeling low. Can't believe how tired I am. Sometimes it's just nice to just not look at the screen. 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm up. I'll be back. Wow. Do I sound like a evil villain yet? I'll be back. Nope, I don't think so. Okay. How much better does this sunset lamp look in the dark? It is feeling so cozy in here. I think before I take down the Jerry tent, or whatever we called it earlier, I can't remember. There's one thing that I really want to do, and that is write a little bit of my novel. If you don't know, I've written a book, not published or anything. I've done the first draft. The second draft is basically me just rewriting everything because I started writing this book maybe in 2008 maybe, or it's when I had the idea at least. So it's been a long time in the making. I have one of those brains that starts something and then doesn't finish it, but for some reason I always come back to this book. Writing feels impossible when I feel like this. I'm so tired. But it probably is like one of the only things that I can hold on to. Like I said, it's basically me rewriting it because I wrote this when I was younger and I feel like I've matured a lot more. I now need to mould the book into more maturity, if that makes any sense. So let's do some writing. It's been a while since I've written, maybe a couple of months. Like I said, when I am in a slump, it feels unfathomable to write a novel or to do any writing at all, because sometimes I just don't have the energy or the motivation to reply to a simple text, let alone write a novel, you know? It's these moments where I realise that it doesn't have to be written all at once. I don't have to sit down and write it perfectly. In my experience, the books don't have to be written in big chunks. Sometimes it is just little crumbs. And if you're a writer, maybe you relate, maybe you don't. Because writing this book, it reminds me that I still exist. Like, those are my words that I've written. Those are my ideas, my storylines, my characters, the plot twists. That is all me. God. And it just reminds me that, yeah, I still exist. And sometimes I think this book needs me just as much as I need it. So I'm really glad that I put time aside this evening to do something that makes me feel alive. And if you have something like that makes you feel alive, here's your sign to go and do it. Even if you feel a bit low. I think it is time to say goodbye to the fort. Say goodbye to Jerry, everyone. Bye, Jerry. Let's do this. Today started off pretty rough, not gonna lie, but I'm really glad that I did something a little bit different, something to almost break the cycle of staring at my phone and doom scrolling or glued to my laptop editing. It was nice to have a little bit of a break and do something a little bit different. And yeah, I barely left my room. I wasn't productive. I didn't get anything done, and I think sometimes I feel really guilty if I don't use the weekends to be productive. But it was quite nice to have almost a day off to just do whatever the hell I wanted to do, you know? I built a fort, I read my book, I did some colouring, I wrote a few lines of my novel, I watched a lot of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I mean, yeah, like I didn't leave the house, sure, but you can still show up for yourself in ways that aren't the normal. If you're in a slump right now and you are struggling and you feel stuck in a space that feels small and trapped and confined, I hope you know that you're not alone in that. And maybe try it. Maybe try find ways to move some things around in the room. Move the picture frame to over there or change a corner of the room around. It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be impressive. It can just be a little something that kind of like gives the space a little bit of a refresh, especially when you're feeling low and things are already so hard. And if this video has resonated with you in any way, I'm sending you the biggest hug. I really am. And I hope you know that you're really not alone in that. If you have made it to this point in the video, drop an emoji of a tent in the comment section below. Please hit that like button below. It helps my channel more than you know. It tells YouTube that, hey, people like this video. Maybe more people should watch this channel. I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. And of course, I will see you in the next one.